corner store where laughter and chatter danced through the aisles during the daylight hours. Yet, one haunting night changed everything, introducing me to a presence that would forever linger in the recesses of my mind. It was an ordinary evening. The neon sign flickered, casting a warm glow on the familiar surroundings. The cashier, a friendly woman with a penchant for small talk, greeted me as I entered. With a nostalgic twinge, I navigated the aisles, my gaze grazing over the colorful packages that adorned the shelves. That's when I noticed him, a child, no older than 7, standing near the snack section. His eyes, wide and unblinking, seemed to hold an otherworldly depth. Dressed in worn-out clothes, he stood motionless, his presence a stark contrast to the lively atmosphere of the store. As I approached, a shiver ran down my spine. The child blinked, but it wasn't an ordinary blink. It was as if reality itself shifted with each closing and opening of his eyes. A sense of unreality washed over me, but curiosity overpowered any instinct to flee. I tried striking up a conversation, asking the child if he was lost or needed help. No response. His gaze remained fixed on the shelves, unyielding. A deep unease settled within me, as if I had stumbled upon something beyond the realm of the ordinary. Deciding to alert the cashier, I turned away for a moment. When I looked back, the child was gone. No footsteps, no sound, just an empty space where he had stood. The cashier, when questioned, claimed she hadn't seen any child in the store. That night, as I left the 7-Eleven, an inexplicable sense of dread lingered. A flicker of movement caught my eye, and there he was again, standing at the edge of the parking lot. The child blinked, and reality seemed to ripple around him. It was as if he existed on the fringe of our world, tethered to the store's surroundings by an unseen force. In the days that followed, the blinking child became a fixture in my life. He appeared at random intervals, always near the 7-Eleven. Attempts to interact were futile. He remained an enigmatic figure, blinking in and out of existence like a ghostly specter. Whispers circulated about the child. The blinking wanderer, they called him. Some claimed he was a spirit caught between realms, while others whispered of a curse that bound him to the convenience store. No one dared approach him for fear of the unknown. The 7-Eleven, once a place of comfort, became tinged with an eerie aura. The neon sign that once welcomed me now seemed to cast an ominous glow. Each visit was accompanied by the unsettling feeling of being watched, of encountering a presence that transcended the boundaries of our reality. Years have passed, and the blinking wanderer has become a distant memory. Yet, late at night, when the neon sign flickers and the air holds a peculiar chill, I can't help but wonder if he still blinks between worlds. A mysterious figure forever tethered to the 7-Eleven and the haunting mystery that unfolded on that unforgettable night. The neon glow of the 7-Eleven sign flickered in the chilly night as I stepped out, clutching a bag of snacks. The street was deserted, bathed in the eerie hum of the flickering streetlights. My footsteps echoed in the emptiness as I walked towards my car. That's when I heard it, a distant, haunting sound that sent shivers down my spine. A woman's mournful cry echoed through the night, piercing the silence. It was a sound so full of anguish that it seemed to seep into my very soul. My curiosity turned into concern, and against my better judgment, I followed the heartbreaking wails. Turning a corner, I saw her, a woman standing beneath the dim streetlight, her silhouette hunched over. She wore a tattered white gown that seemed to dance with the wind, and her disheveled hair veiled her face. The dim glow revealed tear-streaked cheeks and eyes that mirrored a bottomless despair. "Are you okay?" I stammered, my voice breaking the eerie stillness. She turned towards me, her eyes vacant and haunting. The tears flowed endlessly, leaving glistening trails on her ashen skin. "I can't find him," she whispered, her voice a haunting melody of sorrow. He left me, and now I can't find him. A chill ran down my spine as I tried to make sense of her cryptic words. The desolation in her eyes was palpable, as if she carried the weight of a tragedy beyond comprehension. I couldn't shake the feeling that something unworldly lingered in the air. Against my better judgment, I offered to help her find the mysterious hymn. She nodded silently, and together we wandered through the empty streets, the dim glow of the 7-11 fading into the distance. As we walked, she told me her story, a tale of love, betrayal, and a tragic end. The man she spoke of was her lover, and he had left her heartbroken and alone. She wandered the streets every night, weeping and searching for him, trapped in a never-ending loop of despair. The night grew colder, and the surroundings became increasingly surreal. Shadows seemed to dance in the periphery of my vision, and distant whispers filled the air. The crying woman's lamentations echoed through the empty streets, weaving a tapestry of sorrow. Eventually, we reached an old cemetery, its weathered tombstones standing sentinel in the moonlight. The woman's cries intensified as we entered, and she pointed towards a grave obscured by darkness. "He's there," she whispered, her voice quivering. "He's waiting for me." I hesitated, feeling a growing sense of unease. The air thickened with an otherworldly energy, and the night seemed to hold its breath. With trepidation, I approached the grave and shone my flashlight on the worn epitaph. To my horror, the name on the grave matched the one she had whispered, a man who had met a tragic end years ago. The realization struck me like a lightning bolt, and I turned to the woman, but she had vanished into the night. A bone-chilling wind swept through the cemetery, extinguishing my flashlight. In the darkness, I heard her voice one last time, a mournful whisper carried by the wind. "Thank you." As the wind subsided, I stood alone in the cemetery, surrounded by the echoes of a love that transcended death. The 7-Eleven's neon glow beckoned in the distance, but the night had forever changed me, a witness to a ghostly tale that unfolded in the shadows of the crying woman. In the small town of Cypress Hollow, nestled deep within the heart of Texas, where legends whispered through the rustling leaves and shadows played tricks on the moonlit ground, I found myself working the night shift at the local 7-Eleven. It was a quaint store with flickering fluorescent lights and a perpetual hum from the refrigerators lining the aisles. Little did I know, my mundane night was about to take a sinister turn. As the clock struck midnight, a sudden chill filled the air, and an ominous fog crept through the aisles, swallowing the shelves in its ghostly embrace. The only sound was the rhythmic drip of water, echoing in the silence. I turned to investigate, and my eyes widened in horror as I saw a leak in one of the store's pipes. Ignoring the warning signs, I approached the source of the dripping water. The leak was no ordinary leak. It seemed to defy gravity, as if the water droplets were floating upwards before vanishing into thin air. A shiver ran down my spine as an otherworldly whisper echoed through the store, barely audible over the relentless dripping. Curiosity overcoming fear, I followed the spectral sound to the back of the store. The stockroom door creaked open on its own, revealing a narrow corridor leading to an abandoned storage space. The air grew colder with every step, and the oppressive darkness seemed to reach out for me. As I entered the storage room, the dripping intensified, now forming a haunting melody that resonated with the beating of my heart. The room was filled with old cardboard boxes, their contents long forgotten, and now home to the lingering spirits of the past. Suddenly, the dripping water took shape, morphing into ghostly apparitions that mirrored the faces of the departed. A voice echoed in my mind, recounting tales of tragedy and loss. The water, it seemed, held the memories of the deceased, forever bound to the 7-Eleven. The spirits spoke of a curse cast upon the store, a curse that demanded the souls of those who dared to work the night shift. Panicking, I stumbled backward, desperate to escape the clutches of the vengeful spirits. The corridor stretched endlessly, the walls closing in with each passing second. The dripping water echoed like a mournful wail, haunting my every step. I finally burst through the stockroom door, gasping for breath as I found myself back in the eerily lit store. The dripping had ceased, and the fog had lifted. The once haunting melody now lingered as a faint echo in the recesses of my mind. To this day, I can't forget the chilling encounter at the 7-Eleven in Cypress Hollow, Texas. The store stood as a spectral monument where the souls of the departed mingled with the running water, and the haunting drip echoed through the halls of the damned.